So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to Further Love of Paul McGrath podcast on a day where Aston Villa have one of those very, very good opportunities. With teams above us losing yesterday and drawing and whatever else, and Liverpool playing against Brentford today, albeit that I expect Liverpool to beat Brentford. Brentford are no easy task, just like Fulham aren't for us. Villa have an opportunity today to pop themselves into the top four, which is something that would have been a pinch your leg moment this time last year when Unai Emery first came into the club. So big game today, really expectant of this team sheet and expectant of a performance today. But Paddy, how are you feeling about it so far today? Any jitters this morning? You normally get the jitters in match day.
Yeah, I just think things are aligning for us, and they were last week as well, and we failed to capitalise. So it's a big opportunity. As I said, I hate the last game before international break because it kind of determines the next couple of weeks to how you're feeling. So I'm hoping for a win today. I'm expecting a win today, but it's not going to be easy either. It's like every game now, people are coming to Villa Park hoping to break that hoodoo of beating us after such a great run, and Fulham will be no different, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think exactly the same. And we went through Fulham's team and the fact that they're five that they're going to play behind the striker, who will either be Raul Jimenez. And look, I'm going to throw out the statistic, albeit that there's quite a possibility of jinx within this one, but Jimenez hasn't scored in something like 44 Premier League games. There's something like that. I saw a statistic earlier on today and I went, wow, he hasn't scored in that long. Let's hope he starts in the bench and stays in the bench against Villa, because when players need goals, that's traditionally the team that they want to play against. Well, the old Villa was anyway, and let's hope that the new Villa has shaken off that moniker as the games go on. But the five that's going to play behind their striker is a real interesting area. I think it's the interesting area for everybody, Paddy, within this Fulham team. But I also think the Aston Villa team, and the more I think about it as well, the Aston Villa team could have one or two little surprises. As I say, that whole left-hand side for me is up for grabs. Whether Alex Moreno might start today, who knows? Albeit a long shot. Who's going to play in front of him, I think, is going to be one of the big talking points as this goes on, as it has been in every single team sheet tantrum since Zaniolo has come through the doors.
Yeah, and look, it could very well change up again. We just don't know what level Alex Moreno is at. I'd like to see him start to see where he's at and get over any uncomfortable reaction he would have after today, and get him ready for 2 weeks' time. That's my opinion. I think it's a perfect day to play him. I think he'd keep them on the back foot bright and early, but as I said so many times, we can't exactly complain about Luca Dean. He's been a stellar performer right throughout the season, so in fairness to him. But look, I think he showed a lot of faith with Bailey when it wasn't working for him. It eventually came good. He probably will show the same faith with Zaniolo because he obviously has big belief in him. He's one of his players, so it's open to suggestion to what he can do, and we've known not to second guess him at this stage. But I would imagine there'll be very little change. But I would like to see Moreno and see where he's at.
Yeah, and like Moreno is definitely one of the players we've been looking forward to, but he has been out for 5-6 months at this stage, and all he's done is have training games, hasn't seen any meaningful time of any time, either in preseason or in the game so far this season. So it will be a massive surprise were he to start. I don't expect him to start, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility he does start at home against this Fulham team, and it's specifically a team where I think with Kenny Tete out, and as we mentioned about Castagna being that that right back that likes to get forward a small bit more. Maybe having Alex Moreno there to pin him back to try and get to the byline, have that different level of attack. Because look, even a blind man can see that Luca Dean and Alex Moreno are two completely different type players in their delivery, in the way they want to attack the box, in the way they want to attack the ball, and from an offensive point of view. So, having that change up, that ability to change it up in games has been something we've missed, because it's something that that Unai Emery used an awful lot last season, chopping and changing between the two, and in some games even playing the two of them together. So welcome back, Alex Moreno, and hopefully you get some meaningful minutes today. If not, a start from the very, very start. I don't expect any other massive changes, Paddy. I really don't.
No. And look, somebody makes a valid comment. I've lost it there. There's a few players sitting on 4 yellow cards. So if Moreno was fit to start, I would save Luca Dean from his 5th yellow and having to start Alex Moreno the next day. But look, hopefully it's not that type of game that we don't have to put in those silly challenges. I think it's Kamara, Luis, and Luca Dean that are on yellow cards, on 4 yellows. So these we've seen with all the other teams around us. There's a lot of there. You found it. Yeah. Thanks for that, Rachel. So we've seen a lot of teams around us, like the likes of Spurs now have lost a lot of players. They lost another one yesterday. Basuma hit his 5th yellow yesterday, which rules him out of our game in 2 weeks' time. So all of these things coupled together mean that we're going to start hitting them now very, very quickly with the fact that the referees have decided to clamp down on kicking the ball away, which Dougie Luiz has been done for a couple of times, as has, I think, Luca Dean got one for rolling the ball back underneath his foot one time. They seem to have dropped off a little bit on that at this stage. So it's, your guess is as good as mine.
And Paddy, that's an interesting point, because it is game week 19, as Rachel and Sai mentioned here, when the yellows reset again. So it's halfway through the season. So, and it was mentioned in the, like it was for anybody who bets, and I didn't put any bets on this, but for anyone who bets, apparently it was printing money at the start of the season when you were betting on the overs for the cards. And here's my conspiracy theory as well, that the bookies just basically said, lads, you got to stop giving yellow cards for this stuff, because we got cleaned out the first 3 or 4 weeks, because it really hasn't happened since then. So there's my conspiracy. But it like a lot of the yellow cards for time wasting, a lot of the yellow cards for dissent, a lot of the yellow cards for stopping people from taking quick free kicks, they are gone. And to be honest with you, I don't miss them being gone, because yes, we're in a situation now whereby I think I went back and I looked at it. Douglas Luiz had 3 yellow cards in the first 4 games. Now he's obviously on 4 yellow cards at the moment. That isn't ideal. And there's a lot of other players within the Premier League, I think, will be on the same situation. So I don't know if there's any genius out there that wants to go back over the time since the inception of the Premier League, how many times Villa have lost a player to suspension for the 5 yellow card rule prior to the amnesty coming in, and want to post it in one of our future podcasts. That would be absolutely fantastic. But I would imagine that during the Premier League we will see more players this year than previous years fall foul of that 5 card rule prior to the amnesty coming in, or prior to the resetting coming in there as well. So it's an interesting one. The team is going to be out in a moment. Do I have? Oh no, it never loaded on my soundboard. It never loaded my team announcement. I had Unai Emery doing a team announcement, but hasn't loaded just yet, so I won't be able to use it. The team will be out any moment. From the chat room there as well. Let's see where we are. A lot of people saying that they're worried because they're predicting clean sheets today, and we haven't had that many clean sheets over the course of the season so far. We're due one. Fulham, as you mentioned previously, are the 3rd lowest scores. They're the joint 2nd lowest scores in the Premier League this year. Burnley are the lowest, and then Fulham are joined with 2 other teams on 9 goals so far this season. Obviously, Aston Villa being the 2nd highest scorers, with the opportunity to become the highest scorers today, should they win.
Team is in, Neil.
But the team is in, and I'm just trying to load it up here now. Team is in, and we do have a change in there that we didn't discuss at all. So as you can see by the man with his hands in the shape of a heart, he's starting today. Yuri Tielemans, so Martinez, Cash, Konza, Pau, and Dina, McGinn, Kamara, Douglas Luiz with Tielemans, Diaby, and Watkins. That is exciting from the point of view of I am wondering, is Diaby going to play behind a Tielemans and Watkins front two, kind of like what Tielemans played against AZ? Because I've been looking forward to that, and that's his best game in a Villa shirt, and he played well during the week as well. Let's not forget, from that deeper role. So this is this is interesting. Also, when we look at it as well, it's very possible we're going with that box midfield that we did with a Jacob Ramsey when Jacob Ramsey was fit towards the end of last season, and when Unai Emery came in, should I say, we played that box midfield. Really interesting lineup there, and one that I'm very rarely disappointed with lineups. That's just my way. I'm always glass half full. But that to me is something that I've been waiting to see after Tielemans was deployed against AZ, or probably since Tielemans has been deployed in a more forward role in both games against AZ. I can't hear you, Paddy. I think you're on mute.
Sorry, I muted myself there because I was coughing. He came in for a great deal of criticism earlier on in the season over some alleged comments that were probably taken out of context. The guy has been excellent the last few games that he's got his opportunity, and to be fair to him, he's probably earned his chance to start in the Premier League today. So I'm a big fan. I'm looking forward to seeing how he deploys him. As you say, it could be one of a number of ways, but I do anticipate it will be in that kind of box, the 4-2-2-2, as opposed to Diaby in behind him and Watkins. So look, it's exciting, it's different, and let's see how he deploys him. And thankfully, Alex Moreno has made the bench, so we can look forward to hopefully seeing a bit of him in the game as well. And look, it would be great. It would be great to score early and have a little bit of a canter coming into the international break and to win easy. But we all know that these things have a habit of making our life a little bit more difficult. But I do expect us to win today with that side. That's exciting me a good bit now.
Yeah, me too. It's because genuinely it's something I didn't expect, and I love being surprised. That's why I'm a huge fan of Christmas. Love being surprised. So the bench is interestingly, Unai Emery has chosen to play Bertrand Traore as the second goalkeeper on our bench today, which is interesting because I didn't see him as a goalkeeper, because our bench is Olsen and Traore are the first two names on the bench. So obviously Traore has been playing in goals, so I hope he's got his gloves with him. Alex Moreno, Chambers, Longley, Zaniolo, Duran, Bailey, and Dendoncker make up the bench as well, littered with international experience, littered with top level experience, littered with experience within this team as well. And look, that's all we can really ask for. That's what we can ask for, having a bench like that, and with the caliber player that still has to come back, the Jacob Ramseys, and so on and so forth. That's music to my ears. To the fitness of the team going into the international break, and what I mean by the healthiness more so than anything else, is really good to see, because we're a threadbare squad. We do miss 2 or 3 players when they're injured, regardless of who they are. So having everybody like that and having a bench like that gives Mister an awful lot more opportunities to roll the dice during the game. And again, Paddy, I expect 5 substitutions today, regardless of how the game is going.
Oh, you'd hope so. You'd absolutely hope so. And it'd be we should mention the fact that Diego Carlos hasn't made it. So hopefully that's not too bad, and hopefully the international break is coming at a really good time for him, and he can recover over the next couple of weeks from what we're told is only a slight strain. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's a really exciting team. I'm going to just take this down as I go looking to see what the Fulham team is. I'm going to pop up Fulham's team here in a moment and discuss it, because as I say, there's 5 players there that I have no idea who will be starting in there. And fair play to Fulham. As everybody knows, none of this numerical crap that goes on, and none of these links like Neil likes to see. So as we can see here, Bernd Leno in goals, Castagna, Bassi, Rich Beam, and Anthony Robinson are there. Polina, Iwobi, Deckard Reed, Andres Pereira, Willian, and Raul Jimenez starts. So my irrational fear has come true where Raul Jimenez starts, and I'm hoping that we extend his goalless run today, or at least by the time he does score, or if he does score, there were 4 goals up at that stage, because I always hate having a striker that is on a barren streak play against us, as every Aston Villa fan will. The substitutes bench: Roddock, Kenetete makes it back onto the bench. Ballatore is there. Harrison Reed, Sasa Lukic, Tom Carney, our old nemesis, Harry Wilson, Adama Traore, who's a player I meant to say it in the preview, I completely forgot about.
He's been injured, so I didn't think he was going to make it. That's why I never brought him up, because I'm actually surprised to see him in there, and I don't know how fit he is, but he has been out and wasn't expected to make it. So yeah, he's there now, so we'll have that, no doubt, another illogical fear coming off the bench. Road runner running at us.
Exactly, and Carlos Vinicius then up top as well. The person who you would imagine would be their substitute up top after that as well. So listen, look, not too far removed from what we expected, but we just didn't know whether Harry Wilson would get in there. We didn't know if they would go with Iwobi beside Polina. I'm happy that they did, albeit that Alex Iwobi is a better player than a lot of people give him credit for. I think that the transfer fee that he was signed from Arsenal to Everton for, he's one of those people whereby the fee weighed around him. And, he was always a player that other Everton players would say he was the most skillful player within the panel and in the team. For me as well, it was a real surprise that he moved on and moved to Fulham. But he's going to be in there in that number 6 position in that double pivot today. He's obviously going to be the Douglas Luiz of the two, the one that's going to try and move the ball around. He has got good feet on both sides. And I would imagine that even if things aren't cooking for him, or aren't cooking for somebody like Willian, or Willian's older legs, maybe he doesn't have 90 minutes in him, I'd imagine Harrison Reed or Lukic would be sprung at any stage from maybe half an hour in, if needed, to go in there and move Iwobi further upfield as well, where he could be a bit more creative. So there's a lot of interchangeability within that Fulham team as well, and within their bench. So something that in-game tactics, Unai Emery, as we know he is, but we'll have to be very much on his game for that as well, because we need these points today. That's why I'm being a bit more measured. It's not really measured, but I'm kind of going more into what Fulham are doing more than Aston Villa, because the opportunity, as I started the podcast on, the opportunity is fucking huge today. It's really big today, because it's we'll be coming up to a very big milestone, a very big nodal point, I suppose, prior to going into the December run, whereby we need to have the points on the board if we are to be serious about upper echelon European football this season. So 3 points are bust today for me, I think.
Yeah. That's exactly it. I don't care how they come. If it comes to 1-0 hitting off the proverbial backside in the 98th minute or whatever it is, once it comes today, because winning ugly and winning often is very important, especially at the times we're in, when there's a good opportunity to put 4 points between us and Man United, and 5 points between us and Newcastle, and put us within a point of Spurs, regardless of what Liverpool do today. So there is a huge opportunity for us to cement ourselves up there and give ourselves some kind of opportunity going into that Spurs game in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, and look, we won't get into the Spurs game now, but that Spurs game is going to be a lovely affair. I'm really looking forward to it. Even though they're missing a lot of players, they're still a very, very good side. And Wolves, Pablo Sarabia came on and gave 8 minutes of glory yesterday. Like, he was just amazing when he came on. And you talk about the substitution changing the game, you won't find many more that'll change the game as much as he did yesterday. And Spurs were looking at a win in that game yesterday and getting themselves back on track, but it wasn't to be. Paddy, ref watch, Mr. Hooper.
Do we have to? Look, it's no reflection on Simon Hooper. For anyone that watched this podcast from the beginning, Simon Hooper was one of the best referees in the Championship. He's come in to the Premier League and been moulded into one of those arseholes that you can't talk to, that doesn't explain himself, that just exudes arrogance like everybody else, and that's obviously how they're taught by PGMOL. I feel sorry for him, because he was a really good referee. You could see there was even empathy in how he refereed the game in the Championship, and he's just changed completely. He's not good enough for this level. I think there's very few that are good enough for this level, but because they put so much emphasis on being an arsehole and being a dickhead to everybody that they actually forget what they're supposed to be doing there. So he's done for me. He's on that long list of people who I don't trust within the Premier League team. But what we've got to do, and I said it last week, is we've just got to get so far ahead that we don't have to worry about referees. I really thought the referee on Thursday night, who was also terrible, who wasn't the PGMOL referee, I really thought he was going to cost us, and very nearly did. So the most important thing is we get ahead, we stay ahead, we keep them at bay, and regardless of what silly yellow cards or lack of yellow cards they decide to dish out, that we don't have to worry about them, and we're in a good enough position to push on and win the game.
Yeah. Look, as I say, we'll try and keep it within our own hands and try and take everything else out of it.
Rob Henry, which one I think is good enough. I like Anthony Taylor. I like Michael Oliver. I think those guys have been more or less consistent throughout. There's a couple more like that, but very few and far between. And look, I make no bones about it. PGMOL is not fit for purpose. Whatever way they're training these referees is absolutely incorrect. Whatever way they're telling them to deal with the VAR calls and everything else is absolutely incorrect. They have all the tools at their disposal. They don't use them correctly. They're not good enough. We'll move on because we're talking about Aston Villa and not PGMOL.
Get your scores, get your predicted scores into the chat room there, everybody, and we will go through them. So go through them in a moment. Paddy, where do you think this is going to fall from a scoreline point of view today?
I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be tighter, judging by what they have back. I think the extra players on the bench gives them a little bit more need for players to prove themselves on the pitch to avoid being taken off. So I think it's going to be tight, but I'm going to go 2-1 Villa.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight as well. I'm going to go with 2-0 Villa, because I want a clean sheet, and I think it would be a massive shot in the arm for the defence to get a clean sheet going into the international break. Yes, Pau Torres is going to be away for that international break, and Matty Cash is going to be away. Emiliano Martinez will be away as well, but it's good to send them on their travels prior to this. As we all know, Ezri Konsa should be going away with this squad, with the English squad, but it's not to be, and that's to our benefit because he gets to stay at home and hone his craft with the professor. So there is that plus point as well. So I'm going to go with 2-0 to Villa today, and I know I'm being risky, and that's because I'm the one that brought it up the jinx about Raul Jimenez. So now I'm going to be the one to say that he's not going to score to try and cancel it out as well. So I'm going to go with 2-0, and I couldn't tell you who's going to score. Actually, let's see if I make a prediction on scores. I'm going to go with Tielemans since he started, and I'm going to go with Diaby as the two scorers for no other reason than they're the first two players that came into my mind. Scores are flooding in. I love this. So R.A. Virtue says 3-0 to Villa with a Watkins double and McGinn to score. Music Junkie says 3-1. Anne O'Grady's going with 2-0 like myself. Paul Miller's going with 3-1. Colin Smith going with 3-1 to Villa. Rachel is going with 2-1 to Villa. Western Wood is going with 2-0 to Villa. The Welland Valley is going with 2-0 with Dina and Watkins. Converted Villa fan wife says 2-1 and you say 2-0. That's from 2Cash666. Mr. Sensible says 2-1 to Villa. Dream Villain says 3-0. John Frost says 2-0. Sea Lion I says 2-0. Scott Taggart says 2-1. Red Cole says 3-1 with Watkins to score 3-1 and Watkins to score first is 40-1. Oh wow, because if Watkins to score first is 40-1, that's definitely worth something. Simon Kenny says 4-0. James K says 3-1. I'm Cookie says 4-1. Osdrum says 3-1. Daniel Donnelly says 3-1. Hookah says 2-1. Anita says 2-0. Sai says 3-0. Jake says 3-1. Brendan Townsend is going with 2-0 with Zaniolo at the back. He's coming off the bench. PJ Coyne is going with 3-0. David Dwyer is going with 2-0. John Lukeman is going with 1-1. Sewer Sound says 2-0. Terry Morris is going with 3-0. Rob Henry is going with 1-0. Tielemans goal. Rich Ryan is going with 2-0. John Steele 2-0 as well. Audrey is going with 3-1 with Watkins, Urian, Dougie. Danny H is going with 3-1 again. Padger's matchup is going with 1-0. Matt Parker 2-0. Brad Barnett 2-0. Jam Jack 1-0. And Darren Healy is going for 1-1 as well. Mick Ducati is going for 3-0 Villa. Richard Nuss is going for 5-1 to Villa. Giggs Sharma is going with 2-1. David Logan's going with 5-0. Clove Richards is going with 2-0. Zaniolo's first goal. Michael Gaskin 3-1. Sensible 1-0 from Ace Edits. Sonia is going for 7-0 Villa. Richard Edwards is going with 2-0. Lynn Powell is going with 2-1. Brody Pierce is going with 3-0. And Niall Lennon is going 3-0 with a Kanza goal. I suppose it is worth saying here as well that, look, we're fully aware that Fulham could come here and do us over like teams have done in the past. And that's absolutely, like, the reason I say that is somebody mentioned there that the winning streak is going to end today. It might end today. And yes, we're always only one game away from the winning streak ending. We're 12 games unbeaten at home in the Premier League at the moment. And that to me gives an air of confidence. I know why it can also give an air of trepidation as well to people because, you know, as you say, you're only one dodgy decision away from losing that home win. But at home, we have had a formidable record, and that is my reasoning for being confident in this, along with the fact that we've scored 26 goals already in the Premier League this season, and they've scored 9. While that means nothing other than the fact that that's what's happened previously, they could go out and score 9 goals in this game. For all that matters, I suppose, based on what we know, that's where my prediction will come from with regards to 2-0. Aston Villa being good at home, averaging 3 goals a game at home, and Fulham having only scored 9 goals so far this season. That's what's giving me my confidence today. That's what's giving me my confidence today. Paddy, any last thing, a few bits and pieces before?
No, nothing majorly to add. Hit the like button if you're on there. There's over 400 people in there, so get on it if you can. Just does us a solid, and if you're not subscribed, get in there and subscribe for us and do us all a favour.
I just wanted to take a look here and see, and Fulham have scored 5 of their 9 goals away from home and 4 at home. So that's just a very quick look here. I'm open to correction on that one as well. So
and you probably need to count how many home and away games they played as well.
Well, I'm just looking at here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6 away games, and then 5 goals scored. So
fair enough.
Just for context. So we won't be back with a post-match podcast directly afterwards because this beautiful face is being photographed for a family portrait that we're getting done today because in my partner's infinite wisdom, she says she misheard Sunday as opposed to Saturday when I told her which day would be best. She says she misheard it, but I'm not buying it, and answers in the comments if you buy it as well. But so we won't back after this. We're going to get to watch the game and then have to shoot off and probably have a big red head of fury on me for any of these photographs. But we will be back probably tomorrow with post-match podcast directly after this, as is customary for this podcast. You will feed directly into Dale AVFC Stato's link for his watch along. For any of you guys who watch along with Dale, no need to do anything. You will be just popped directly into it afterwards via this link. All you got to do is hang on, and you'll be thrown directly in there as well. So thanks Hungry Hippo. He says, hey guys, been a while since I've been able to watch live. Just wanted to say thanks for the continued content. You guys rock. No, thank you, Hungry Hippo, and thanks to everybody. There's 450 at one stage in here watching, and thank you so much for that. We really, really do appreciate it. So yeah, as I say, it's very unlikely we'll be back this evening with a post-match podcast, but if you haven't already, click the like, subscribe to the podcast, hit the bell notification PC thingy, which will tell you when we go live. Not like today when an errant message went out saying we were starting at 12:30, which I don't know where that came from. But in the unlikely event that we go live later on this evening, you will be notified, and you'll also be able to see it on Twitter as well. But most likely our post match will be tomorrow, and we'll come back and we'll chat to you then as well. So listen, thanks very much everybody. We're going to leave it at that. Looking forward to an Aston Villa good performance today, and hopefully a win come 4 p.m. This afternoon. But in the meantime, everybody, stay here. If you're going to Dale's stream, you will be redirected after the outro plays. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.